Now this is a horror film that deserves more praise. Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review, and this movie review is going to be for a horror film released in 2009, because I'm about to, that just got a prequel that I'm about to watch after I finish reviewing this. And this film is going to be come from a company called not After Dark, Dark Castle Entertainment. Thankfully not After Dark Films. This is for one I consider the best of its horror film of its year. One that isn't really critically praised per se, but I'm one of the few that really loves it. And that is 2009's Orphan. Yeah. So what's the plot of this? Well, after the devastating loss of their unborn baby, Kate and John decide to make things better into adopting a new child. They end up adopting an angelic 9-year-old Russian girl named Esther. When they first bring her home, things soon start to change with Esther. As things seem to be normal with Esther and John, Kate and Esther's siblings start to feel like there was something wrong about her after exhibiting signs of hostility towards them. When Kate begins to dig into Esther's unknown past, she will soon discover the real horrifying truth to who she is in fact really is, and must now protect her family at all costs from the nightmare that she and John first brought into their home. Yeah. So, how was this film made? Well, in November 2007, Vera Farmiga and Peter Sarsgaard were cast into the main roles. Then principal photography for the film took place in Canada, in the sites of St. Thomas, Toronto, Port Hope, and Montreal. Esther of Estonia was inspired by the May 2007 media coverage of 34-year-old Barbara Skrovla, an orphan who abused her first adopted family and ran away from the police when caught. She eventually was found impersonating Adam, a 13-year-old boy who had gone missing. So, after the movie was completed and marketed, Orphan was released in the United States on July 24, 2009 by Warner Bros. Pictures. The film received mixed reviews from critics who praised its dark humor, scares, and Furman's performance as Esther, but they criticized its formulaic screenplay, uneven pacing, and 2-hour runtime. The film grossed $78 million worldwide against a $20 million budget. A prequel titled Orphan First Kill was released this summer around August 2022, with Furman reprising her role. And it was released while I was away in the Kiss box. Now for my reaction. This is, to me, without a doubt, my favorite horror movie of 2009. Basically, summer 2009 had so many stinkers for the horror genre. And just that year in general had so many stinkers for horror. Like, there's The Unborn, unless that was 2008, whatever. That's The Final Destination, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, some other non-horror stinkers, lots of them, like Revenge of the Fallen, X-Men Origins Wolverine. So many bad movies that year. Wow. There were some good exceptions to that year, though, but 2009 was just terrible. There were so many bad movies that came out that year. Not a good way to end the 2000s decade. However, one horror film that summer turned out to be perfection, and that was none other than Orphan. This is one of the very best evil child films I have seen. Isabelle Fuhrman, who plays Esther, is brilliant with her relevant characterization, as is Ariana Engineer, who plays the part of Maxine. Kate and John Coleman Oscar nominee Vera Farmiga and Peter Sarsgaard have given a pretty high caliber performance here, although John Coleman I don't really like. I'll get to him in a bit. And then Jimmy Bennett also plays their son Daniel. Yes. What this film did brilliantly is that it tricked us viewer into believing there was some supernatural element to Esther, the protagonist of this lovely little adorable flick, or antagonist, I mean to say. We know there's something odd about the freckle-faced Russian girl who the Coleman family adopt and take home as an addition to their family, but we're left questioning exactly what that is till the very end of the film when something quite unexpected is revealed to us. As a viewer of suspense films that depict supernatural elements at work, most viewers might be tricked into thinking there is something ghostly or spectral about Esther, or that she's just a psychotic child, or a vampire, or a mutant of some kind. But the truth is something much more interesting and unique, and consequently possible. But remotely this might be. However remotely this might be. For the first 3 quarters of the film, you're treated to the adorable, psychotic indications of a child who we know very little about. Other than that, she is picked up at an orphanage by a couple, the wife had suffered a miscarriage. As Esther shows her increasingly dark tendencies, you cannot help but kind of really love her as a villain even more. But she's able to go to the fine line between merciless psychopath and an adorable, gentle, lovable little Raggedy Ann doll. The film's greatest achievements is the character development. While most movies in this subgenre move from kill to kill, like checking off a grocery list, forgetting to allow us to connect to the cast, Orphan lets us inside the Coleman household as we discover their most intimate histories and struggles. You understand and identify with every motive of each character. As the film presses on, the person you like cheered for, you then start to despise, and just when you start to despise them, you realize they still don't deserve what Esther had kind of planned for them, and you begin to kind of cheer for them all over again. And Vera Farmiga is really, really great here. She's able to provide a great performance, especially in horror, like with films like The Conjuring, and even Godzilla, King of the Monsters, even though I didn't really like her character in King of the Monsters. And she puts on a pretty captivating show here. She's strong yet vulnerable at the same time. We feel for her loss. You can see the pain she's trying to hide, but she's never unsympathetic. She's able to make us be on her side the whole way. Peter Sarsgaard plays his role well, but I felt like his character was just nothing but a sleepball. His character often just feels cold and desperate. Could never really get into him here. And once again, Isabel Fuhrman gives one of the scariest performances of all time. And this was before she later played in the first Hunger Games film as, I forget her character's name in that film, but she basically played the one who killed Rue. The tribute that killed Rue and then got brutally murdered for that. And telling a surprisingly layered story that stays into uncomfortable territory given how it deals with children in peril. The shiniest gem in this entertaining nugget is that is Isabel Fuhrman. Upon his performance, the movie succeeds or fails, while acting is uniformly top-notch throughout. Fuhrman spectacularly establishes herself as one of the most remarkable young talents at the time. And that was a statement that could not be taken lightly around the time this movie came out. However, is there bad qualities with this film? Well, yes. Where the problems come in is with motivation and plot depth. The writers really felt the need to include a troubled relationship as the basis for a particular family unit, and then they went overboard, and in the end they created a completely dysfunctional relationship between the parents. And the writers really felt the need to write the father character as this total big jerk. Hey, let's not mince words. Like, a lot of father figures in movies are just written as jerks. There's a few rare times when they don't get portrayed like that, but almost a load of horror movies, often in films like this, widely treat them as like the jerks who just don't believe the sane ones, or just basically ignore everything until the end, or act like just assholes. So what happens to him in the end? I felt like it was pretty well deserved. And there are those who will also be very queasy and uncomfortable towards the end of this film with a certain scene. Basically, near the end, before the twist is revealed, Esther tries to sexually seduce John, and it's pretty uncomfortable to get through. Like, yeah, it was just really pointless and kind of unneeded, but. And then it's a little less uncomfortable when you find out the twist of the film. Only hint I will kind of give is that for the twist, Esther's not really kid aged. Nope. She's actually a 33-year-old grown woman with dwarfism who poses as this kid to kill families. So she's actually a psychotic 30-year-old killer. Now that was a genius twist right there. They really made me believe that. And the movie ends on a very satisfying note, rather than just end on some cheap downer endings, like instead of a bunch of sequels or something, or just try to be, or just want to do what Saw did. I like this movie for once had an ending. For once, there was no stupid downer. For once, it just end the story beautifully here. Like, about friggin' time in the 2000s, a horror film for once try to have an actually good ending. So yeah, despite some bad qualities I have of the film, Orphan is a perfect underrated gem in 2000s horror and deserves to be praised more often than people give it credit for. And I definitely recommend it that horror fans go out and buy it. Anyway, that's it for my review of Orphan, and if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Orphan, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you are a fan of creepy kid horror, then I would easily buy this and add it to your collection for sure. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Orphan, I'm going to give Orphan a 9 out of 10. There we go. That wraps up my review for 2009's Orphan. So, this weekend I'm actually going to be finally seeing Clerks 3 and reviewing it. And then, reviewing it Sunday nights. And we'll probably... Never mind, I forget what I was going to say. But anyway, yeah, I'll be seeing that this weekend finally. So I can review or rant on it, depending on my opinion. But from what I've heard about the film, I'm probably not going to enjoy this. From everything I've been hearing so far, but we'll just see. And then Monday this week is going to be Halloween Horror Movie Reviews 3 premiere. So, yeah. So stay tuned, horror fans, because next week, Halloween Horror Movie Reviews 3 finally starts. Currently buying some horror films to review, but I already know what I'm reviewing because I already have a list of that. But anyway, that will be it for this review. Thank y'all for watching, because I gotta end this so I can go watch Orphan First Kill, upload this review, then watch Orphan First Kill while this is premiering. And don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.